Welcome to the most interesting news in the world. Your host and anchor, Connor Hill. We have an amazing show for you today because we're kind of going to talk a little bit about last week's show because I left you hanging. Last weekend, Gary Douglas held a telecall called Helping the Election of the President. Wow. Wow. Why am I saying wow? Because I didn't even realize how much I had bought the collective, and I do say collective because I realize it's a very collective point of view that your vote doesn't count. Now, my vote, yeah. So just that your vote doesn't count. Okay. If you haven't done any access consciousness before this moment, what I say next might be a little weird. So everything that brings up times a godzillion, we destroy and create it all. Holy mofo. Wow. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, all night, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. So if you want to get this telecall, you got to go to actionsforfutures.com. Actionsforfutures.com. Let me see if I can post a little something. 123.actionsforfutures.com. Let's see how that works. It's probably going to be, you can't do it. Okay, it didn't work. Figure it out. So, the proceeds of that, if you're buying that call, will go to the candidate for the United States presidency next year's election that Gary is supporting. And I'm also supporting that candidate as well. I'm very excited. I know I've never been one to announce. I was even close to being like, man, maybe I should get a bumper sticker to drive around town. No, I'm not getting a bumper sticker. I'm so not defacing my car with a sticker that once the election is over is going to sit there and then it's irrelevant after that. So, Robert Kennedy. Booyah. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I like it. That's all I got to say about that. So besides that, it's not just that this call is about Robert Kennedy. It's about a lot of other things. And you don't, if you don't want that, but you still want the call, well, sorry, I guess maybe you could say, hey, can you put this money? You could probably leave a comment. Hey, can you put this money towards something else? Because I don't like that guy. Whatever. I don't have a point of view about it. Not very many. I mean, Gary said he doesn't have a point of view about it. He probably doesn't have a point of view about it. I just really like it. It's got me, I've watched a lot of things about him or of him talking about some things, and it's got me really excited for this election, more so than any other election I've ever had before. And this is literally, I've never actually truly announced who I was going to vote for previously. Probably not because I didn't like him that much. I wouldn't even say I liked him. I just like what it's going to create. I'm very excited. I'm like, oh, yay. So that would be awesome. If he doesn't actually make it through the primaries, I'm still going to write him in because I've discovered my vote does count. Now, like I said before, if this is your first time doing any access consciousness or hearing anything from access consciousness, we have a tool called light and heavy. And I may have talked about this already on this show, but I'm going to talk about it again. Because I guarantee a lot of people just I can't believe he's talking about who he's voting for and what to do. Oh my God, you're not supposed to. And if you do, you're supposed to tell everybody how they're idiots if you don't vote for the same person and how blah, 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 blah. Or I'm going to hide who I'm voting for because I don't want anyone to tell me that I'm an idiot and make me. And next thing I know, we're in a political debate. Nah, not interested. And if you want me to debate you, I'm not a debater. I'm not a debater. That's basically what it just comes down to. I'm a player. There you go. So light and heavy. If it feels light, it's true for you. If it feels heavy, it's not true for you. So my vote, if you say the words or you think my vote doesn't count, Does that feel light or does it feel heavy? And it might feel light. It might be true. You might live somewhere where you're like, no, it really truly, like, it feels light that it doesn't. So from there, you can function from awareness. You don't have to like run around thinking that you need to vote. And maybe my vote didn't count in the past. Maybe it only counts this time. But I'm also moving in the direction of asking the question, what can I be or do to make sure that my vote does count? That's also something I got out of that call. So I'm telling you a lot of the things I got from that call because it really, for me, it changed my reality, not just for this election, but every election moving forward, which is really awesome. It's got me a lot more excited about a lot of things. So, um, whichever one feels light for you. And so for me, it feels really light that my vote does count. Oh my God. And then if you're like, Connor, but if you write in a candidate, not nearly enough people are actually going to, you know, fill it in too so that the person wins. And I'm like, yeah, but who said that that's like, and then you're like, and then your candidate doesn't win. And then the blah, blah, blah. And then everybody's got all sorts of reason justifications and they just get heavier and heavier as they keep going on. And oh my God, it's so fun to talk about. Yeah. It still feels lighter that my vote counts, even if I, from some people's points of views, throw it away by writing in a candidate. It still counts. Feels lighter. Makes me smile. How do you know if something feels light? It makes you smile. That's one thing. It could make you laugh. Could just make your body, like sometimes for me, it makes me take a deep breath. I'm like, ah. Or it's like, my vote doesn't count. And you're kind of like constipated and you don't breathe and you're clenching your sphincter together like extra tight. Cool. Which is kind of like what you do when you need money. You're like, I need money. And your sphincter gets tighter and tighter the more you think about how you need money and you need money and you need money and you need money and you don't have enough money and you don't have enough money and you don't have enough money. I don't need money. I have enough money. Well, I would like more money. I have enough money is kind of like, it's true, and I would like more. Kind of like my favorite thing, if you're someone that is an entrepreneur, or especially a newly venturing entrepreneur, and you're in a family that has never like entrepreneured themselves, like they've all had jobs, the very end, or friends, and they've just had straight up jobs, the very first question they'll all ask you is, are you making any money? Your answer to that is, not as much as I'd like. You see what I did there? Yeah, you can give Gary Douglas $5 and every time you use that, because I got that from him. So we're talking about money. What the heck are we talking about money? Well, because Dr. Dane here had an amazing, amazing telecall to start the program for Monsters of Miracles, Money, and Profit. Is that right? I feel like I'm missing one. No, Monsters of Miracles, Money, and Profit. There we go. And that was just good. I mean, I'm not really going to give you any nuggets from that one, because if you want to get on that one, you just got to get on that one. It's just how it goes. And also, if you want to get on that one, you need to have taken a foundation class and or a Being You 3.5 day class with Dane. So, I felt like there was more I was going to talk about. Yes. What's coming up next weekend, this coming weekend, we have the Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator Training in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I don't have a lot to say about that one right now. It's interesting news. It's very interesting news. It's extremely interesting news. And I'm more interested in the news beyond that one. Sorry, CF training. Not that you're taking a back seat. You're just on the front burner and you're on simmer and you're looking pretty good. So on the back burner that requires some attention just because I like it is the beginning of a new reality in El Lugar. I do believe there's a couple of open spots left if you're somebody that would really like to attend live in person. Now, this is a 6-day event that requires quite a few more prerequisites than what I talked about before. But I mean, wow. Why am I looking so forward to this? Like, holy, well, actually, now that I think about it, I should look really forward to the CF training because we got the CF training after these 2 calls we just had last weekend. Wow, woo, wee, woo. And then moving directly into Elugar, I'm just very excited for the beginning of a new reality. Like I just told you at the beginning of this call of this TV show, I've already got a new reality with regards to voting and stuff. I'm not, the best part is I don't even have to do it the way, everybody else tells you you're supposed to do it. So there are a couple of videos. I don't know how I'm going to send it. So there are a couple of videos um, that I've watched that also really get me excited for the election. And if you want those videos from me, you're going to have to email me. How about that? Yeah, you're going to have to email me at connor@connorjhill.com. CONNOR@CONNORJhill.com. That's the only way for me to get you that information. Email me, get on my subscriber email list, or you can go to connorjhill.com and there should be a contact form in there somewhere. Be like, hey, Connor, I want those videos that you talked about. And I'll get those sent to you. To help you out, because I'll totally freaking forget, list these 2 things. There's one video on Awakening America, something like that. I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, but it sounds like that. The other video is the Robert Kennedy's podcast that he did with Joe Rogan, podcast number 1999, 1999. Yeah. So the beginning of a new reality obviously is just right around the freaking corner because my whole reality with elections has totally changed. And my whole reality with having miracles with money and profit is obviously on the verge of changing absolutely dynamically. So it's all very fun and exciting. Now, there's a lot of people, and I was one of them. When I first started doing Access Consciousness, I was like, why does everybody care so much about money? Well, because I had a job. Like when you've signed your life away in the United States to a W-2 form, you don't really understand why other people, like why someone that's like an entrepreneur is so excited about money. Because you're like, all I do is I show up at work on Monday to Friday and I work extra hours whenever they tell me to, and I like really be like a good little worker bee, and I get paid the same paycheck every 2 weeks. It's so good. And you're like, you think you don't have any money problems. Now, and you don't. The truth of the matter is you don't. And I'm not saying I do have money problems, but that's where is interesting. When I started Access, I didn't think I had any money problems, which is why I was like, I don't have any money problems. Why would I care about money? But in order to not care about talking about money, you have money problems. If that makes any sense. Because when you're willing to go, oh my God, I love money, and you're talking about money, you don't have any money problems. You just acknowledge, like, what the hell else is possible? And how the heck does it get any better than this? Yay! Especially also because very recently, Gary raised the price, all prices in Access Consciousness for the foundation class went up 25% after it had just gone up a bunch already. So the cost for a foundation class is $2,500. I have had people gripe to me in the past that Access Consciousness is too expensive. My response to some of those people is, well, it's not getting any cheaper. So if you want it, you might want to get on it like sooner rather than later. But that's fine. Whatever you want. There is something called the How to Become Money workbook that I narrated the book for. You're welcome. And it's $35. $35. $35 on a book on how to become money and receive more money and have more money and be more money and have more ease with having it show up and all sorts of stuff. And it's just 35 bucks. The tools are there to get started, folks. So if you do have a problem with it, I do highly suggest you look at any one of the money books. There's a lot of them out there that are from Access Consciousness, not books that are called if you think you grow rich or something like that, whatever. It's actually the opposite. Just a little secret. It's the opposite. Shh. Did I say that out loud? All right. Where are we at? We're almost at 20 minutes, and I've realized I haven't really talked about a whole lot today. I don't have much else to say other than, do I bring that up? I will. So another element of how and I'm not just saying I don't want to say like, this is all about me. It is all about me because it's my show. And I'd like to say how my reality changed because I'm thinking and hoping that maybe that gives you a sense of how your reality can change too. And does it? I get a sense it does. So I'm going to keep doing it. I have been functioning extremely, extremely linearly. I'm like one of the least linearly functioning people I've ever met, and yet I'm still functioning highly linearly. And maybe some people that have met me have been like, you were functioning more linear than anyone I've ever met. And I'm like, that's fine. That's interesting. Interesting point of view. You have the point of view, Mike. Is question, choice, possibility, and contribution. I was doing all 4 of them in a row. Like I first must learn question, and then I will learn choice, and then at some point in time I will learn possibility and contribution. And it worked to get me to where I am now. Because the next phrase I'm going to say is from a book that Gary Douglas wrote. And most of you are not going to be able to hear it. I'm just going to, it's not a problem. Just going to let you know that if what you hear, you're like, what? Totally fine. Because the first time I read it and heard it many, many times, I don't even, I was probably like looking out the window like squirrel. And this is just it's just wow, folks. It's so wow that I'm not really even sure I should be telling you. So this is from a book, and I realize I sound like I'm selling a lot of stuff, but I just want to let you know where I got the information so that if you want more of it, you can go get it, I'm just going to stop doing that. I'm just going to say it and like not keep thinking that I need to tell you guys what it is I'm doing. Let's do this. What would it be called? It would be called, do you think, where do I go from here? That's it. So, I mean, I've said this a lot in my life. Like I get to a point, and especially when like choice really opens up, like I can't tell where I'm going next or where I should go next or I want to go next. I'm like, well, I'm not doing should. I'm not doing all this other stuff, but what? And so I've had a lot of times come up like where I'm like, well, where do I do now? Or where do I go from here? And in Salon de Femme, there's a woman that says, well, where do I go from here? But where do I go from here? She says, but where do I go from here? And Gary tells her, don't go into the but routine. Every time you say but, you stick your head up your arse, which is true. Now, this is the big part. You think, where do I go from here? Question mark is a question. It is not a question. It's a conclusion that you don't know where to go. You're concluding that you don't know where to go. You conclude you have no clue where you are going. You conclude you have no clue where you're going. But you don't create a future based on knowing of where you're going, a perceiving of where you're going, or a concluding of where you're going. You create a future based on receiving whatever shows up in your life and recognizing the choices you make, the possibilities you create, the questions that manifest, and the contribution that will exist if you don't come to conclusion. Boom. That changed my whole freaking reality. That's been changing my reality for at least like the last 3 or 4 days. Because I was like doing like, I will ask questions and then I will make a choice and then I will choose possibilities and 4 possibilities, and I'm not really sure what contribution is yet. Now I'm getting it. So good. And it's all based on that phrase, everything I just read right there. So that, to me right there, that is literally, and I do mean literally on purpose, literally, to me, the most interesting news in the world. And that's it. That's all, folks, for today. If you do have any questions, please send me some questions. Go to my website, connorjhill.com. You can find a contact form. Say, hey, Connor, I hate your show. You're a terrible guy. I had all this stuff talking about possibilities and whatnot. I hope you go to hell. That's fine. Or you're like, oh my God, it's so great. I like hearing that. I like hearing the second one more. And I'd like to think I like hearing the second one more, but maybe I do like being scolded more. All right, everybody. This has been the most interesting news in the world with your host, Connor Hill, and lead anchor, journalist. Never thought I was going to be a journalist, but I'm really digging the duds on the journalism thing. Because it's something I enjoy. This is what I want to talk about. And if you want me to talk about something different, send me a message and I will get it out there. Most interesting news in the world to a close. See you all next week, same time. I won't be in the same place, but it'll be on the same YouTube channel. See you later. Bye. And I'm going to like look down because I got to like close everything up.